Hello, my name is Russell at the Piano Outlet, and you see me here this morning in front of 3 different piano actions. I'm actually making this video for Hal, who's thinking about purchasing a G3 for his son, I think who's 9 years old. And North Carolina, is it? Anyway, he had a question about the 2 different G3s I have available right now. One is 1968, the other one's a 1983, I believe. And his question was, what's the differences? Normally there aren't many differences between, let's say, mid-1970s till 2013. Not really any differences in the actions on the pianos. The one thing that we want to be most concerned about is the amount of wear and tear in the actions. But when we get before 1970, there is definitely a difference in the technology. And what I'm going to show you is this piano right here. This is a 1968 G3. It's currently advertised, and the one thing you notice about the action right away, it definitely looks older than the other 2. The biggest difference is the rail, which the hammers are screwed down to. It's the hammer rail. The older Yamahas are made of maple, and all of the Yamahas since around the early 1970s, like this is a 1983, and that's a 2005 right there, they have an aluminum rail. They're identical. That's not the only difference. If you look over here, these are the repetitions. This is actually the motor of the piano. This makes the piano play when you press the keys. And this is an earlier type of repetition that Yamaha used, let's say, back in the old days. There's a little rope here that a spring adheres to. And the one thing that we don't want to happen is for these to break. But in this piano, they're all in really nice shape and really nice condition. And the piano plays great, sounds good. However, it is not as good a technology as the repetitions that they're using today. So, for instance, this is a repetition from 1983 G3 that we spoke of, and this is in actual marvelous condition. The hammers are in really fine condition. All the hardware is nice and bright. There's no oxidation. And just so you see, on a 2005, a little bit more bright and shiny because it's newer. You'll see in here the same thing, same action as you have in the 1983 exactly. So one thing that we must be concerned about is how much wear. This piano here has not had much wear at all. Actually, none of them have had really much wear. It just depends on the type of life that the piano had. One of the other things that I noticed right away is that in the newer Yamaha repetitions, they have a felt for each hammer. In the older one, they have a big piece of felt going all the way across. I'm not a technician. I really can't say specifically what the differences in these 2 pianos are as far as the technology is concerned, what does what, because all I know is that I play them. But what I am going to do is I'm going to put these 2 actions back in the pianos, and I'm going to play them both for you. Let's get this one back in here. And maybe before I play them both, we'll talk about the pianos themselves, the differences. Okay, that's that one. That's how I get all my exercise. Come in here and whip these actions in and out of the pianos. They weigh about 70 pounds each. Okay, that's that one. Okay, so as far as the pianos are concerned, the one thing about the older piano, if the camera will come over here and focus in, one thing about the older G3s, the dimensions of the body from here to here are a little bit more narrow than G3s made in the late 1970s. So you actually have a little bit more soundboard area in the later model pianos. And that's actually very similar to the scale design of today's C3, that G3 over there. Also, if you look in at the G3 in here, this particular G3 has had everything new replaced. Got all brand new strings, pin bushings, all the felt spin replaced, all the screws polished. The soundboard was refinished, and as you can see here, these are hitch pins, and right before the hitch pins you see this little strip of felt, but there's no duplexes. If you look in the newer G3, you'll see what we have what are called duplexes. So the camera will go over, and you'll see the difference. This is actually a Steinway design, and to be honest with you, I don't really feel like they really add any difference in the tone of the piano, but I can tell you that they look really nice when they're shiny, bright and shiny. And I know everybody will say, well, you shouldn't really care how it looks. Well, the whole thing is that most of you people out there that spend a lot of money on these pianos, you want them to really look nice too, I know, because if I had one in my house, I'd want it to look beautiful. And we spend just as much time in detailing these pianos as we do to making sure that they play really fine as well. So I'm going to take a piano bench, and I'm going to play something on both. Not going to give a real long demonstration. We don't have a lot of time on these short videos, but we'll give an idea of how it works. Sorry to say the piano's pretty out of tune because we did just recently finish a restraining on this piano, and it's only had probably about 3 or 4 tunings. It needs to have maybe 2 or 3 more, actually. But we'll play this one here. And incidentally, when this piano was refurbished or rebuilt, incidentally, we didn't do that here. It came in this way. Everything was done to it. The key bushings are tight, all new damper felts. Piano really has everything in it, so you don't have to worry about anything failing on it or having to put money into it later. That gives you a good little lesson in the differences between some of the G3s, 1968 versus 1983, 1984. 2 totally different pianos, but from about the mid-1970s to today, really very, very similar. So if you have any other questions, feel free to call me, text me, email me. Thank you very much.